Hello everyone, welcome to Tribe of Zion. Today we will be talking about doing everything to the glory of God. The main Bible verse for today is from 1 Corinthians 10:31-33.
1 Corinthians 10:31.
So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Oh, oh. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Oh, oh. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Do it all for the glory of God. Do it all for the glory of God. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Oh, oh. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Oh, oh.
1 Corinthians 10:33 tells us that whatever we do, whether we're eating or drinking, to do it all to the glory of God. That means our actions, plans, wishes, play, or work should all be to the glory of God. This rule applies to everything. I mean, if it is important to honor God in something we do all the time, like eating and drinking, then it must be important to honor God in everything else, right? Eating and drinking is part of our everyday life. Breakfast, lunch, supper, snack, we do it all the time. In the same way, honoring God shouldn't be just for when we feel like it. It should be part of our everyday life. Also, eating and drinking is also something we do with our families and friends. So honoring God and giving glory to God shouldn't just be some highly secretive thing that we do when no one else is looking, right? We should honor God among our families and friends. We should be proud to know God and to be associated with God. And also, lastly, just like eating and drinking gives our body strength to live, let us make God our source for strength and let everything we do be to the glory of God, even in the very little things. Jesus cared about the little details, as we're going to see in today's Bible story about the tomb after he rose from the dead.
This is the story of the greatest thing ever accomplished in all of history and laundry. Before Jesus came to the earth, death kind of ran the show. But God had a plan to stop death and save the world. For this plan to work, Jesus would have to die. And our story begins right after this happened, when Jesus was on the cross and life left his body. Back then, when people died, they didn't go into a coffin like today. Instead, they would put them in something called a tomb. This was a big room in the side of a hill, almost like a cave. Inside, there would be a long slab of rock that the body would be laid on, and a huge round stone would cover up the entrance, forever sealing it from the outside. When they took Jesus down from the cross, they wrapped his body in cloth and carried him to a tomb. They laid him down inside and covered his face with a special kind of fabric, a small blanket, almost like a napkin. Now, the story doesn't end here. A little while later, some of Jesus' friends came to visit the tomb, but they didn't expect what they saw. The giant stone had been rolled away, and the entrance to the tomb was wide open. They were shocked and they ran inside, but what they found surprised them even more. Jesus' body was gone, and the tomb was empty. The only thing inside was the cloth that was wrapped around his body and the fabric that covered his face, folded neatly where his body was. They immediately left the tomb and ran to tell of what they had seen. Jesus is alive! But wait a minute, why was the burial cloth folded like that? This might seem like a small, almost insignificant detail, but it's actually super important. Jesus had just finished God's plan to save the world from sin and death. He kicked the devil's hiney so hard it knocked him into next week, and Jesus was now the reigning heavyweight champion of the universe. This is the greatest thing that's ever been done in history. And right after Jesus does this, what does he do? He folds the laundry. Before he leaves the tomb, he takes the blanket that covered his face, that little cloth napkin, and folds it up neatly. Why is this so important? Because it shows us that Jesus cared about the little things. The details were a big deal to him. He didn't just want to get things done, he made sure they were done right. Even in a burial tomb, he wanted to leave it better than he found it. This is one of the many reasons we follow Jesus. In everything he did, he took the time to do it right.
As you saw in that story, Jesus cared about the little things, even folding a simple linen. You do not have to be doing something big to give glory to God. You can give glory to God everywhere you go and in everything, even in the little things. So, as you go about your day, remember that in whatever you do this week, do it all to the glory of God, even in the little things. And that is our lesson for today. It was nice hanging out with you today. See you next time. Bye.